right, and welcome back to the Renewed Homestead, my friends. I'm Ben.
I'm Denise, and today we're going to continue in our beneficial weed series. Today we're discussing an edible weed that can be found almost anywhere throughout the United States and in many parts of the world. It's hardy. It's actually so hardy, in fact, it grows in between sidewalks and even up through asphalt. Have any ideas what it is? To find out if you're right, let's go get into the weeds. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, before we get into the edible weed that we're talking about today, I wanted to give a couple of thank yous. The first is to you, our subscriber and our viewer. We really appreciate you. We know how valuable your time is, and the fact that you choose to spend it with us means a great deal. We hope you are learning something. Building community is really crucial to us, and it's something we desire to do. So please leave comments, ask questions, please leave suggestions for us in the comments. We love learning from you as well. And we hope that you're learning from us. And the second thank you is to Billy at Permapastures Farms. Many of you are very familiar with Billy. We've had a lot of electrical issues with the RV lately, and as you know, we're staying in it while we work on the house. But our electrical went out yesterday, and Billy dropped everything to come over and fix it for us. It's working great now, but we just really appreciate him. We really appreciate his family, and we're grateful. They've been a blessing to us, just as you are a blessing to us as well as our subscriber. And that's something that we really appreciate about homesteading. Like we talked about, is building community, but it's really about helping each other. They help us, and they know that we would drop everything to help them. And I just really appreciate that about the homesteading community. So now, as we get into it, the plant that we're talking about, many people see as a nuisance and a weed, but it's really great for you. And it's so hardy that it grows in almost any patch of dirt. It's found throughout the world, throughout the United States. So did you have any guesses? Well, if you guessed common plantain, you are absolutely correct. Now, this is a plant I have recently learned about, and I have been fascinated. Now, the great thing about common plantain is it's actually edible from root to stem. So even the seeds on the plant are edible. It is related to the spinach family. So it is full of vitamins and nutrients. We've got vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, potassium, zinc, and even the seeds are full of proteins, carbohydrates, omega-3s. Now, you do want to be careful when you're going to eat the seeds, because they are used as a laxative, so you don't want to eat too many, but the entire plant is edible. So it's an amazing edible weed, and it's really not a weed, but a lot of people consider it a nuisance and consider it a weed. Now, I did write the name down because I know I'm going to butcher this name, but plantain has been used for centuries, not just for eating. It's really more commonly known for its wound healing properties. And the Greek Pedanius Discorides, and I probably butchered that.
Besides, you're saying it wrong.
He lived to 40 BC to 90 BC. He actually recommended plantain for wound healing, dog bites, burns. It's been used for inflammation, digestion, even respiratory infections. A lot of people actually use it topically, and they use it to halt bleeding, as we talked about those minor skin irritations, burns, but it's full of antispasmodic properties. So a lot of people use it in infants for colic or urinary tract infections. And as we talked about, they use it for a lot of digestive upset, like colitis, gastritis, things of that nature, because it's full of astringent. It's got a lot of astringent properties, so it's really great for that as well. So plantain is an amazing plant. And as I was really learning more about plantain, I came across an article, and it really made me think. It kind of struck me. There was a gentleman, I believe he was in Michigan. If I can find the article again, I will link it in the comment section. But he knew about common plantain, and he said, I believe this was during the height of COVID, a lot of his neighbors were actually heading to the food pantry. And he said that a lot of their yards in front of their homes and their apartments were full of plantain, and they didn't know it. They didn't know it was edible. And he felt sorry that so many people didn't realize that there were edible plants that were growing wildly around them. And that's one thing that just fascinates me. The more I learn about nature, the more I appreciate God, and the more I realize how much God has put in our path, how much food he's put in our path that we don't even realize. So take a moment, look for plantain, look for some of the other weeds we've talked about, and you notice the foods around you. Start researching plants that grow wild in your area, because a lot of them might be beneficial for food. So just take a moment, and if you know about common plantain, let us know in the comments. But if you know of other weeds that could be beneficial, or other plants that might be beneficial for the series, please put them down in the comment section, because we really want to learn more about them and we want to teach them to you. And I really want to kind of talk about something else.
Should I be worried?
I want to prepare you, ask you basically to prepare. So take some time, make sure you have food stores, make sure you have plenty of water. In Arizona, we had a great home. Our home was beautiful, but we had a very small yard. So we had a small garden. So we knew that it would be difficult to grow a lot of the food that we needed. So we had a lot of canned goods. We also canned and jarred a lot of the foods that we would buy or foods that we would grow. We would can and jar them or freeze them. So we know that a lot of times the canned goods that you get in the store are not necessarily great for you, but they will keep you from starving. And if you have a garden, can, jar, preserve your own food, because that's going to be the healthiest thing that you can do. And we used a lot of the water, the 5-gallon water jugs. We had a lot of those filled throughout our home. So just in case the water went out or we had any issues, we would have plenty of water. And you can always, like Ben told me, he's like, fill your bathtubs. He would tell, he tells the kids, our kids that still live in Phoenix, fill the bathtub. If something's about to happen or there's a disaster coming, things like that, you can at least fill your bathtub up and you can use it you can boil your water. Just things, right now we've got a lot of things going on with the supply chain. We're not sure what's going to happen. We know prices are rising, inflation is happening. So we just want to make sure that you're prepared, and that you're prepared, you and your family are prepared. So just take a moment, make sure you've got enough food, make sure you've got enough water. And if you need help or need any suggestions, let us know. We'd be happy to share some of the things that we've done and some of the canned goods that we've bought that we can utilize for meals. Rice, beans, those are all inexpensive and great to utilize, and you can use them with so many things. And one more disclaimer before we go. As with anything, you can look for Google for dosage recommendations for plantain and some of the other plants that we've discussed in this series. But see a naturopath or an herbalist. Talk to them if you have any questions or anything pertaining to any ailments that you might have, especially if you're breastfeeding or pregnant. Just always good practice. But take some time, notice nature around you, notice the edible plants that are around you. Comment, let us know what's growing around you, and let us know if there are other edible plants that you want to know about, and let us know if there's any specific properties in plants that we could discuss or learn about together. So thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you. God bless you. God bless your family. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend with us. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Hey, good stuff, right, everybody? Hopefully you're learning a lot, and we will keep making more videos about useful weeds. But please make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Take care.